lesson is that social behavior will route around all attempts to be predictable. So now we've built this new infrastructure. We've built a web infrastructure, and beyond that, within the web, various sorts of applications exist. And the web is many things to many people. To businesses, the web frequently looks like a way of extracting money, which of course it is, absolutely. And to the media and to other content providers, the web frequently looks like a way of delivering content, which it is. Of course, it's much, much more than that, but it is also a way of delivering content. It's very good at that and getting better at it. But ultimately what the web is, as you all know, is that it's a way that people are connected. It's a way that we connect with one another. That's what, from the beginning, way before Web 2.0 even, we rushed onto the web, into this technical environment, onto the internet, because we wanted to connect with other people. And we connect with other people through what we say, and through what we build, and through what we share. Those are fundamental ways that we do it. And the sharing is quite important here, especially when it comes to social networks, because we share all different sorts of things. These are what have been called by sociologists social objects, a term that Jiri Engström has made more popular. Jiri was the creator of Jaiku, which is like, sort of like, I think it's fair to say, sort of like Twitter, and maybe more importantly, was bought by Google. So he's now doing social networking at Google. So, but we don't need Jiri Engström to tell us that social objects are very important to social networks on the web. It's not just us standing around chatting, we're chatting about things. And sometimes it's ideas and opinions, sometimes it's photos, sometimes it's music, sometimes it's media, sometimes it's what we've bought, sometimes it's whatever. The social objects are actually quite important. They're important because they enable and facilitate the discussions, the conversations among us that connect us, which are the reason generally that we're on the web in the first place. So we've been constructing these sorts of social networks for a long time. It didn't really begin with Facebook and MySpace, important though they are. We've been doing this since the beginning of the web with Yahoo groups and similar sorts of, this is from 10 years ago. And even before that, we've been doing it on the internet through all sorts of discussion boards and Usenet and bulletin boards and what we used to do through dial-up modems. It used to look like this was how desperate we were to talk with one another, that we would do this. And we did it for many years and we were quite happy with it. We've been doing social networks on the web forever, on the internet forever. They're primordial to the internet because they're primordial to us. We are the creatures that connect. So now we have mobiles that have increasing power. More and more of us have them. Much more of the world, more of the underdeveloped parts of the world have them. The screens are getting bigger. The capabilities are getting bigger. What do these mobiles add to the social networks? And I want to note here that that question itself is misleading. It assumes that mobiles are an addition to social networks, and it may, in fact, be, and I want to leave this as an open question when we get to the end, because I certainly am not sure about this. It may be that mobiles are not an addition to social networks. It may be that they become the focus of and transform social networks. I don't think we know yet, but that is a possibility. So social networks outside of mobiles they centralize identity. So you have your Facebook page or MySpace page, and that becomes one of the places that stands in for you on the web. It's not the only place. If you have a blog, that's certainly another place that stands in for you, for yourself, like your body in the social space. But that's one of the things that social networks have done for us. And then, of course, they've added a whole set of functionality, more and more and more and more features and functionality and applications, many of which are available outside of the social networks, some of which which are enhanced by their ability to access the knowledge of who your friends are. So into this mix comes these exciting and glamorous mobile phones. You can see just how beautiful they are these days. And even people as glamorous as Michael Douglas are using them. They add a great deal to this mix. For one thing, they're global. which of course is not literally true. Most of the world still doesn't have a mobile, but more and more of the world does. More and more of your social network is within reach, and lots and lots and lots of people are. And the second thing they add, of course, is that you have them with you always. You carry them with you inappropriately at times, wherever you go. For example, as if by design, Mauro's phone has just alerted him that his social network cares about him. But he doesn't care enough, he's put them on hold. So we carry them with us everywhere, sometimes inappropriately. That sort of ubiquity is very important. Most of us are not in front of our laptops all day. Some of us are privileged enough that we do spend 14 hours a day in front of our computers. Most people have actual lives to live, and so they don't. But their cell phones are generally always with them. And that changes things. That means this connectivity is not an interruption, pardon me for using you as an example again, but becomes part of the environment. And as you know, because there's a strong generation, I should say from the beginning, I'm 57 years old, I am in the wrong generation to be talking about this, but my children constantly they're getting text messages, and although technically that is an interruption, you're talking with them or they're in the movies and they're looking down, the interruption is so slight that they're willing to put up with it. It's worth it to them. So that this interruption no longer feels like an interruption. It feels like the constant presence of their social network. And as others have pointed out, this is an interstitial activity. You can, because of the low cost of the interruption and the low cost of starting up, you have it with you at any moment. You can check in. You're waiting for a bus, you're in an elevator. You can take out your phone and check in with your social network. So this filling in of interstitial time with the connectivity to your friends is new and obviously important to the nature and importance and meaning of social networking. Next difference is that, well, cell phones know they can bill you for everything. For everything. They know everything that's going on. This is a network that's owned. It's a proprietary network, and so it knows everything that you're doing. And there's obviously some bad sides to this as well that can't be ignored. There's a good side. It's good to be able to monetize. There's some things we can only do if there's money at the other side of it. And so that side of life works well. What I think everybody wants to avoid, and if you disagree, you'll let me know, is what we say in English, colloquially, nickel and diming. So that every small transaction you have to think, is this worth the €0.5 to pick up this thing or to do that? That inhibits social connectivity. And it's something that a successful social network on the web is likely to want to avoid, in my opinion. The other side of the other economic side of this is mobiles know where you are physically in the world, either by triangulating or among towers or through GPS. So that is an enormous incentive to marketers to deliver relevant messages to you relevant to where you are. And if that's done badly, it can be a horrible experience. It can just interrupt everything. And so we have to hope that marketers are smart enough not to do the thing that really, really, really annoys us so much that we stop using the device. That's what we have to hope. But there is that temptation there. And we have not yet worked out the equation, the power equation between the customers and the businesses to see what sorts of marketing are going to work and which ones we are going to react against. That's be a very interesting thing to see. Because there are also possibilities of the advertising that's delivered to us being so relevant that we actually like it. That's the goal. It's hard to achieve. Because the device knows where you are and knows about your social network, it also knows, of course, where your friends are. And this is a huge advance in social networking. This is a tremendous capability that we are only beginning to take advantage of. And because the device can also know where the events are that are near. You put these things together and you suddenly have the ability to meet more and more face-to-face in locales that are pleasant and useful.